rashes, bumps all over her entire body, a really bad fever, fatigue, joint pain, and then ends up in the hospital. What happened that caused this lady to be hospitalized? They found that the serum was pushed into their skin. Erythematous rashes with these bumps showed up on that patch test. This is insane. Guys, this lady was hospitalized after microneedling, and the pictures I'm gonna show you are horrific. I don't know if you guys are up to date what has been happening recently, but today I'm going to be telling you a few microneedling horror stories. Strap yourself in. Happy Halloween. Story number 1. Now this lady is in her 60s and she goes to a skincare clinic to get Dermapen treatment. Now before they actually start the Dermapen treatment, they apply a vitamin C serum from Sanitas Skincare onto her face. They then administer the Dermapen treatment, all normal, seems fine. She goes home. 2 weeks later, she ends up developing something called an erythematous rash, which is just a really red rash all over her face that won't go away. Now here's where the story gets way worse. Over the next 2 to 4 weeks, she develops granulomas, but she also develops something called arthralgias in her joints, which is an extreme pain as well as a lot of stiffness, specifically in her knees. She also develops a 104-degree fever, and she has to be hospitalized. So this lady goes to a skincare clinic to get a fairly routine, normal treatment for her skin health, ends up with rashes, bumps all over her entire body, a really bad fever, fatigue, joint pain, all of this, and then ends up in the hospital. Now, story number 2. A woman in her 40s who dealt with acne her entire life. She eventually got on Accutane, got rid of the acne. She was left over with acne scars. So she visited the same medical spa as the woman in the first story to undergo microneedling treatments to help her acne scars. Now, before they administered the needling, they applied a hyaluronic acid moisturizer to her face. I don't know why they used this on her, but not on the first lady, but that's what happened. I don't know why they did this, but on the same day she underwent laser resurfacing treatments, and a few days later she experienced redness and blistering. Now 2 weeks later, she visits the spa again to undergo another microneedling treatment, but this time they used the same vitamin C serum from Sanitas Skincare that I told you about in the first story. 3 days after this treatment, she starts to experience progressive facial swelling and redness. 2 months later, she experiences the same arthralgias, joint pain, and tightness as the first lady experienced. This is insane. This is terrible. I can't believe that this medical spa is allowed to exist. Now there's another lady in her 50s and she experiences the same thing. These erythematous rashes, redness all over her face, granulomas. This is crazy. This happens again and again, right? This all happened a few years ago, and these stories caught huge traction. The internet took them, went wild with them, and the myth that microneedling and dermastamping is dangerous began. I want to share what really happened in these stories and break down the 3 biggest dermastamping myths that came out of all this. So what the heck happened that caused this lady to be hospitalized? Luckily, they did a lot of tests, a lot of research, and they actually found out why this happened. So the first test they did gives us a little clue into why this was such an intense reaction. The first thing they did was do a patch test. And a patch test is just basically where you apply something to a small patch of skin and see what the skin does. Now they did this with the vitamin C serum that I was talking about in the first 2 stories, and after 96 hours, 4 days, they found that these erythematous rashes with these bumps showed up on that patch test. This showed that both of the ladies were very sensitive and allergic to this serum. Okay, then they did a biopsy, which means that they actually cut a piece of skin from both of these ladies and looked at it under a microscope. And what they found on both of these ladies was something called a foreign body type granuloma reaction, which basically just means that they found that the serum was pushed into their skin during the dermastamping. So ultimately what they concluded was that because this facility was using non-approved topical products specifically before administering the microneedling, it caused these hypersensitive reactions and infection. Now, I don't know what happened to this medical spa after all this news came out, but I'm hoping that they either changed their practices so they aren't causing more people to undergo these reactions, or they were shut down entirely, because this is absolutely insane. Now, you guys know that I work with Banish, which has at-home microneedling kits, and I was talking to the CEO, Daisy at Banish, and I wanted to work with her to make a video addressing these myths that came out about this and myths that came out about Banish because of these stories. Myth number 1, microneedling at home is dangerous. There have been no studies that show that microneedling at home is dangerous. There also has only been one case of a woman who dermastamped at home and caused an infection, and that is because she stamped over an active cyst and spread that bacteria over her face, which caused an infection. So what Banish says about this myth is that in their instructions, they've always said to never dermastamp over active acne, cysts, rashes, or any area that looks like it could break out. They also created the Banisher 2.0, which is a derma stamp. This way you could choose where you wanted to apply it to on your face instead of a derma roller that goes over large areas of the face. Myth number 2, microneedling and vitamin C serum causes granulomas. Now, granulomas are areas that are red and inflamed, but also can be accompanied by bumps. Now, granulomas have only been reported in 3 cases, 2 of which were from those stories at the same medical spa that I just told you about. In 2 of these 3 patients, the patients continued to get the same treatments even after noticing adverse reactions from the first treatment. Now, like I told you guys, from the patch test and the biopsy, they found that these patients had an adverse reaction from the vitamin C serum. That's the specific thing that was happening. But when they took a deeper look into the ingredients, they found that this was either because of the preservatives used or the fragrance that was used in the serum. Now, what Banish has to say about this myth is that is exactly the reason that they formulated their product to not have any fragrances at all. They also small batch make their products each week. That way the vitamin C serum is not oxidized, yellow, or anything like that. It's fresh when it comes to you. They also advise you not to microneedle after doing another treatment like laser or chemical peel. They advise not introducing a new skincare product that you haven't tested before while also doing microneedling. They advise doing a patch test whenever you get their serum to see how your skin reacts to their vitamin C. And they advise not using their dermastamp while undergoing prescription strength acne treatments like Accutane. Myth number 3, lasers and chemical peels work better than microneedling. Now, as someone who's had severe acne and also acne scarring, when I saw a skin specialist, I wanted to get laser, but he actually advised that dermastamping was going to be more effective for my type of acne scars. Microneedling is a valuable alternative and also a lot of times a lot cheaper of an alternative that's a lot less invasive than deep chemical peels or laser resurfacing. This means you can actually do this treatment at home, unlike laser resurfacing or deep chemical peels, which you can't do. And this is something really cool that Daisy, the CEO of Banish, actually told me. They manufacture their Banisher dermastamp in the same manufacturer that surgeons and dermatologists manufacture their dermastamping tools. So myths busted. Those are the biggest ones that came out of this story. As you can see, they've been busted. Now, when you dermastamp, there are a couple rules that I do want to throw at you. Please never share your device with anybody else. That's a big no-no. Obviously, never microneedle over active rashes or active cysts. Always use a 70 to 90% isopropyl alcohol after using your dermastamp. It's good to completely submerge it. This disinfects the needles before the next use. Wash your hands really thoroughly or use sterile gloves before starting to dermastamp your face. This one is big. Make sure that the serum you're using does not have any fragrances, doesn't have a bunch of preservatives, and isn't super old or has been basically opened to infections. Never touch the actual serum dropper to your skin and put it back in, because this can propagate bacterial growth inside of the little bottle. Always stay out of the sun the day you microneedle, and also use a sunscreen to protect your face. And finally, avoid derma rollers. Always use derma stamp. The reason why is because a derma roller, when you think about it, when it rolls into your face, it scoops instead of going perfectly in and perfectly out, leaving exactly uniform holes in your face. The scoops can actually cause there to be scarring that comes from using the derma roller because it leaves these big scoop marks on your face. So there we have it. I really wanted to make this video to address all of these myths that come out. I wanted to explain these horror stories and explain what this medical spa did wrong that caused these issues. I think you guys know by now I'm a huge advocate. I am a huge success story when it comes to dermastamping. I've been doing it now for about 2 years using the Banish products. I've seen a massive improvement in my acne scarring. You guys have seen my before and afters, especially because I used to have such severe acne. It really is an impressive thing to me that I don't have very much acne scarring at all after having such severe cysts. So when I hear myths like this, it kind of annoys me, and I just kind of wanted to address it. I think you guys know by now, but as always, if you ever want to try out the Banish skincare product line, great for mild to moderate acne, but it's also extremely useful for acne scarring, rolling, boxcar. A great easy place to start is just getting the starter kit. The entire skincare product line is backed up by science. I've made videos about the studies that support each ingredient used. I would not support them if they didn't actually use ingredients that are proven by science. You can use my code, it's Brian5, it'll get you $5 off of any order. I'll put the link in the description below. But if you guys have any questions ever about Banish or any of their products, let me know and I will do my best to address those. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And remember, you are not alone. You are beautiful and you're part of Team Acne. I'll see you guys in the very next video.